In this video, we're going to talk about a 5-minute guide to the FTSE 100, which is the UK 100 index. Stay tuned. Hey traders, a very warm welcome to you. Okay, FTSE 100 is the UK 100 index. I'm going to run through it all in 5 minutes if I can. Let's go. All right, Financial Times Stock Exchange. That's what the FTSE stands for. It's the top 100 biggest listed companies in the UK. One caveat to this is that, or not caveat, I digress slightly and say that if we're searching for this on a CFD platform or on a spread betting platform, it's going to be there as UK 100, something like that. That's purely because FTSE 100 is a trademarked index, and actually when you're trading a CFD or a cash-based spread bet or a cash-based CFD, it's not actually a FTSE, it's a synthetic FTSE that's kind of been adjusted for cash. In all intents and purposes, it's the same thing, but it's slightly different, so they can't call it a FTSE 100. So just a reminder, if you're looking for it on your platform, it's going to be in the major indices section or popular indices section or something like that, and it'll be under UK 100 or something similar. I think I would say 99% of the time it's UK 100. So it's 100 companies weighted by market cap, the biggest companies, listed companies in the UK. Started trading 1984, level of 1,000. Often a lot of these do. Nominal start of it 1,000. All-time high, May 2017, we hit 7,547 and some change. And intraday, we went even higher, nearly tagged that 7,600 level. Not quite then. Sensitive to Bank of England, of course, UK data coming out of the state of the economy, factory orders, jobless, how many people are in jobs, interest rates, we talked about Bank of England, inflation, that kind of stuff is going to affect it. Obviously, it's also going to be affected by the pound, so pound against the dollar, pound against the euro, pound against the yen, pound against all of the other currencies, the strength of the pound, how much buying power we've got as citizens, how much the government debt is worth, all that kind of stuff is going to affect the FTSE. And obviously, that will affect the individual companies in the FTSE. Talking about individual companies, let's have a quick look and run through. Don't think we have time to look at all 100 in much detail, but many of these you're going to be familiar with, and they're probably the kind of ones that we have as a retail exposure, like Admiral Insurance, AstraZeneca, the pharmaceutical, Aviva, BAE, Barclays, Barrett's, BP, of course, one of the biggest weighted stocks on the FTSE 100 alongside Vodafone, British American Tobacco, BT, you know them, you're probably familiar them with if you live in the UK. If you don't, you may well have heard a lot of them anyway. Experian, Glaxo, HSBC, another big weighted one in the index. Some retail ones, like Marks and Spencer's there, Morrison's, Next. Some more kind of newer ones like Paddy Power, Betfair, obviously they combined not long ago. House Builders, Persimmon, Insurers, Prudential. So a decent mix, and a lot of actually FTSE 100 companies are making money abroad as well, so that's something to be mindful of, like Rio, Rolls-Royce we've got in there, Royal Dutch Shell, which is obviously BP's opposition, so to speak. Sainsbury's, you get the idea, guys. We've a lot of familiar. Tesco's another big British supermarket there, Taylor Wimpey, house building company. So a big broad mix in there, and actually unusually, if you look at kind of the DAX and the CAC and Euro stocks, FTSE's got 100 in, which most other places don't have 100 stocks in, so it's a little bit more of an interesting trade. Let's have a little look and see. So FTSE 100, let's go to UK 100. As I say, it's pretty much all of them is UK 100 as opposed to 100. Now I've got a CFD adjusted chart here, and what I've got is I just want to point out what we have here, 10 period ATR. So the average sort of range of the day is, at the moment when I'm filming this, it's about 60 points. 100 points isn't unusual when it's getting volatile. It's probably a little bit more on the volatile side. The average is more going to be like 60 points or so. So a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more range, should I say, than something like the CAC. Not as much as the DAX. Not quite as much as the Dow. Obviously, the valuation of them is going to be, the current price of it is going to be relevant compared to the range. We're talking about a range in terms of ticks here, as opposed to percentage, but you get the idea. So 1 point spread normally on most platforms, that's during market hours, which are 8 o'clock till 4:30 UK time. Then after hours you can trade it, and the spread might widen slightly just because it's based on a futures price as opposed to a cash price, which is the aggregate value of the FTSE 100 shares that are normalized for the index. Margin wise, talking about 0.5%, maybe 1%. But really, low margin, because the brokers consider it as low risk. It's not going to go to zero unless there's a mistake somewhere. This kind of thing. It's not going to halve overnight unless there's, or unlikely to. Never say never in trading, guys. Anything can happen. But the chances of a real catastrophic thing are low, which is why the margin is relatively high for us. We can trade quite a lot of size with the FTSE 100 at not much cost. Spreads are there, normally guaranteed stops if you need them. Obviously you can make that decision for yourself. So what else have we got to talk about? So final thing to say is it's a popular market, very popular obviously with British citizens and other ones as well, because it's considered as a decent kind of economy. You've got the US, we've got the UK, we've got Germany, and other ones I'm not excluding. I'm just saying these are kind of more the popular ones, and a lot of companies will hold FTSE 100 stocks in their fund, pension funds, that kind of stuff. Correlated to DAX, CAC, Euro stocks, sometimes the US. That breaks from time to time. A kind of popular strategy is to trade a pair between the FTSE and the DAX, FTSE and the CAC, FTSE and the Dow, that kind of stuff. So long one, short the other, and look for a contraction or spread of the spread, or widening of the spread between the two. I talked about typical spreads and margins. Trading quirks, not quite as aggressive as the DAX intraday, but it's got its attributes. It's a good sort of trading vehicle if you pick your spots at the right time. Pitfalls and caution, like I say, just be careful, don't get caught up when it's very, very quiet and slow if you're intraday trading it. Otherwise, swing trading, I think you're good to go. It's a nice steady kind of vehicle to get involved in. And like I say, it trades intraday, not quite as aggressive through highs and lows, and when it pings through, not as quick as the DAX or something like that, and maybe a little bit more than the CAC, so somewhere in between those two. So choose it depending on what strategy you're employing, and kind of how you trade, and what your goal is, whether you're kind of seeking that volatility or whether you prefer a kind of steady chug. Anyway, guys, we've shot over 5 minutes, but I think I've covered everything. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.